Okay. What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about something that is a little difficult for me to talk about, but I feel that it's important and I feel that it teaches some valuable lessons. I wanted to share the story of when I got fired as a police officer. And I don't really know how to do it, so we're just gonna get into it. So I knew that I wanted to be a police officer probably my junior year of high school. I first started in corrections and I worked at the prison for a couple of years, and then I moved out onto the street. And that was always my plan. I always wanted to work on the street and be a police officer. And I remember when I first got an official offer, and I remember going home and letting my wife know and how excited we were. This was my dream job. I had good pay, good benefits, and it was a dream come true. It was everything that I expected it to be. However, some time had passed and I had made a poor decision, or rather, a series of poor decisions. And these were not decisions that had anything to do with the job itself or my ability to do the job. These were ethical, these were moral decisions, poor decisions. And at this point, there were decisions that no one knew about except for myself. And I knew that they weren't good decisions. So I slapped myself on the wrist and said, stop. And I stopped doing it. But then I came to a fork in the road. I had two decisions. One, I could either just hope that nothing came of it, that I could just keep on doing my work and that it would be water under the bridge and that would be the end of it. Or two, I could come forward with these decisions, admit my wrongdoings, definitely get reprimanded, possibly get fired, but have my conscience clean. So I went to my sergeant first. I went to my sergeant in peer support. For those of you who don't know what peer support is, it's just talking to someone, usually someone who has received peer support training, about anything really. It can be professional, personal, emotional, and it's kept under lock and key, completely confidential. So I went to my sergeant in peer support and I told him, hey, I've screwed up and I don't know what to do right now. And I told him everything, and he listened to me, and he told me, look, dude, if you choose not to say anything, well, I'm not going to say anything either. What you are telling me is completely confidential, but you have to weigh that for yourself. He didn't look down on me. He didn't pressure me. He just listened to me and then let me know what my options were. I will forever be grateful to him. So after talking with him, I made the decision that I was going to talk to my lieutenant about this. So I did. Some time passes. The lieutenant brings me in, asks me questions about it, which I'm totally forthcoming with. And then some more time passes and I continue working. But then I get a call from one of the captains that asks if he can swing by to pick up my gun and my badge. And then a couple days later, he has me come in and I go into the HR office with him and he has me sign a paper that I'm being terminated. my entire world was crumbling right in front of me. My career was slipping from my hands. I didn't know what to tell my wife, and at this point, she knew everything. But I had to go back home and tell her that I didn't have a job. I was quickly able to get a temporary job in security, and over the next 9 months, I applied to different agencies. Every time, obviously, being very forthcoming and, hey, this is my baggage. This is the mistake I made. I've been trying to own up to it, and I want to stay in this profession. Time after time after time, it was a no, thanks, but no thanks. We're not going to touch you with the 10-foot pole. Some would respectfully decline, and I would have chiefs reach out to me and say, hey, keep at it, man. Just give it time. You got this. And eventually, I finally was able to get with a department that saw me, saw my mistake, saw my wrongdoing, saw my contrition and my effort to make things right. And they said, you know what? Let's give you a chance. We think that you would be a good fit, and we want you to come work for us. And I've been working for them ever since. I am so grateful to still have the opportunity to work in this profession. I believe this is the greatest profession on earth. But it taught me a couple things. Number one would be that there is nothing worth your integrity. There is nothing worth your integrity. In the end, I truly believe that that was my saving grace. The agency I work for now was able to see that despite my mistake, I did what I had to fix it. Despite the consequences, I did what I had to fix it. And that leads me to the third thing, and that is to do the right thing for the right reasons. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. How many times, myself included, and I'm guilty of this, have you made the decision to come forward with something in the hopes that instead of receiving negative punishment, that the scenario would play something to the extent of, wow, that must have been really hard for you to do. You know what? We're going to forego punishment and instead praise you for your virtue. And that's wrong. That's doing it for the wrong reasons. And I'm guilty of that. I was guilty of that. Your integrity is not a bargaining chip. It is not something you get to choose to use only when it benefits you. It is something you have to use, even if it's to your detriment. And for people who make mistakes, you can make mistakes and still have your integrity intact. You know, you hear a lot of people when they talk about ethics and morals, they talk about a moral compass. And a lot of people think that that moral compass is synonymous with integrity, and it's not. Integrity is not your moral compass. It's the magnet that makes the compass point north. So that when you do make questionable decisions and you do veer from that north point, your integrity is what says, no, we are going to confront this. We are going to face this head on and fix it. This experience, it threw me through the ringer, and it threw my family through the ringer. And I feel so ashamed that I did something that threatened the well-being of my family. But I am so grateful that my integrity remains intact. And I'm so grateful that I have family, I have friends, and I have a wife that was able to see the value in that. And despite my mistakes and my wrongdoings, they were supportive of me. They rooted me on until until things were right again. So, if you walk away with one thing today, your integrity is everything. And don't trade it for anything. Be safe, be decent,